Hello guys, what's up? This is Shen talking and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, we'll be talking about the tier list made by me and Seujai, and also with the help of the community. This time, we updated with the recent banners. There were plenty of characters to add. We even took more time than expected. There was Polka Lee's banner and also now the Christmas Princess banner. And some of them were kind of hard to test. We needed more time to decide if these characters were, well, so impactful in the game or not. Like, we have this version of Madeleine, the two Kanshins, and she is pretty powerful. I need to talk about her because she can do as much damage as Rufus in 2 turns, but her drawn back is just too much. Her penalty will make her very hard to survive, while Rufus just gets paralyzed and he can get back into damage on turn 4. She does not work like that. She may just die even on turn 2, depending on many situations. So although she's pretty powerful, she does not deserve to be on the top because of such a penalty in her gameplay. Then we had this version of Zeno, Marquis No More. Zeno is very good because he can inherit Noble Cross and he has a turn 1 damage negation. He can be used just like we could use this version of Madeleine, a new Tornado, but he just does way more damage. He also works on the same formation that it's Tiger Shark, and Tiger Shark also increases dexterity, so he will do much more damage than Madeleine with better cyclings. He has a 3 VP AoE attack that just allows him to never stop attacking with AoE. And double elements, Pierce and Sun. He works pretty fine also in many strategies with UDX Matriarch. Or if you just want the Sun part, there are plenty of Sun damage dealers now, especially physical ones, like the Emperor. I don't think that he's better than the Emperor, but he's very close to. A character will be used for many times, especially on weekly content where you can place it on the front and negate damage for 1 turn, allowing your squad to survive better. I'm already using him and I don't plan on stopping. The third character was this version of Polka, even if this body burns. This Polka is extremely powerful if you have inheritance that comes from this version of him, that is Scatter Explosion, a 9 BP nuke attack that can hit between 3 to 5 times. And I must say that I can manage to get 250,000 damage with this version of Polka after preparation, like buffing with Matriarch, getting overdrive with 5 people, and his damage is one of the best ones in the game. But without inheritance, with just his own kit, he is good, but not the best one, when compared to characters that bring more utility in their own kits. That's why we placed him right here. Very good, but way better with inheritance. We also have Mercedes here in this position. This Mercedes here was also another case that needed a little more testing and also to think a little more clearly about how she performs in the current game. She can get very good inheritance with freestyles. She can stun very nicely. She's the best AoE charm attacker, and because now she can self-buff for intelligence, I can see she being useful for plenty of time. We are moving to a meta in the game that has self-buffs, so if you have a self-buff for your main status, you will be useful for a while. That's the same case with Minerva, but Minerva even buffs 2 status, Endurance and STR. She's like one of the best attackers right now in the game, and she works well with Matriarch in many scenarios since she buffs STR for her, while other characters that buffs dexterity will not perform as much, like Mikhail. Mikhail can self-heal. He has a little of an edge because of this, but most of the time if you're bringing Matriarch, you probably want to bring Minerva instead. In this case, I can see that she's just like this character, self-buff and can keep damage constantly in fights. She can also just do AoE cyclings very well. Also, this version of Mercedes is a definitive one, since you can inherit Ring of Life from this one. This was not considered in the placement, but just to say. And she becomes a damage dealer and status inflictor and also a healer that can resurrect. I do believe that she deserves to stay here, one of the best mages right now. Then we have the Evelyn, the End of the Witch. Here we have plenty of mages that are very nice, and because they have plenty of different options for attacks and sometimes for status elements, that's the case with Evelyn. She can do plenty of things. In her kit, she already has Euthanize that buffs intelligence with a guarantee. That is something very important, but she competes with Global X Rock Bouquet on this, since she can debuff 2 times right from the start. But her skill costs 12 VP a while, Evelyn costs only 9, but she only debuffs once, but she has a chance with her passive. She is not as strong as Global X Rock, that is truth, but there are situations where Evelyn may be better because she also has Psycho Noise, an attack that can debuff Intelligence and Will of multiple targets with only 8 BP. Sometimes this may be more interesting than spending 12 BP like Rock Bouquet. She also has access to Horror, a single target skill that has high chance to inflict confusion. She was pretty useful in tower because of that. And Horror has only 2 BP cost, so you can keep cycling that and should be very nice. Her medium chance to stun with her first skill is also very nice. She can also AoE poison. Then we have Liz, a Mother's Flowing Love. This one here has a very strong nuke for code that even has fast, and one AoE that brings also morale up buff. She's not bad, she is just a little inferior to Miss Sartin in the long run in my opinion because of lack of intelligence buff. Well, Miss Sartin can be used for farming in different scenarios, while Liz can also be used for boss fights, but will not do as much damage as Miss Sartin for long fights. She can just cycle in between her 7 BP skill, while Liz will have to wait for 11 BP or just use another attack by inheritance. This version of her has an 8 BP skill that can be even better sometimes for cycling instead of waiting for 11. Then we have Princess Rhea Burstling Knight. This one is very interesting. She has a special attack with 10 BP that can hit between 2 to 3 times and instant kill the targets. And if it's only 2 targets, you can guarantee that she will kill them. Well, you probably have to use some formation that also increases her attack order. But it seems like this attack, Wonder Horror, also has high priority, so you will not have that much difficulty by doing this. And if you want to use her for boss fights, she will be good as well because she has self-intelligence buff, like I was saying in the case of Miss Sartin. She also has access to plenty of status elements. She already has Confusion, she already has a stun, but that stun is kinda too costly to be useful, and the instant kill rates, but she can get Petrifying Sleep by her S style. And because she self-buffs, it will reach very high intelligence, and if you are on a long fight, like say for tower, and you self-buff your intelligence, you can even hit enemies with 50 resistance, 125, it will work because this Princess Rhea just get to very high intelligence levels. That is something interesting. Then we have Waldorf, Fruits of My Training. This guy is pretty unique. He's a martial artist that can do blunt and pierce damage. Easy to use in Rainbow Rangers, in Sigmoid formation, in Rapid String, and even on the newest formation called Scattered. Waldorf has 2 attacks that are very interesting. One hits between 2 to 4 times with both Blunt and Pierce, and the other one is also Blunt and Pierce, but this time AoE and can only be used on turn 3. That is essentially one of the strongest attacks in the game, but pretty hard to use since he's a martial artist. He will try to attack first before other characters, so that means that sometimes he needs help to kill the first waves with fast attackers, and this reduces his utility a little. But his kit is interesting for boss fights when you can just stack like Matriarch buffs, and even on farming scenarios you can use him as a mini fast attacker by placing him on agility position for Rainbow Rangers, allowing him to go first, and he will still be able to attack 2 times in the 3-turn cycle with his attack. That's not bad. We also have this version of Fairy, Brownie, I'll do this alone. This Brownie here is very interesting. We were discussing if she has a better usage than Annie, and because of something that can be used as inheritance, yeah, this Fairy can be even more interesting sometimes than Annie. Annie still is the best parry attacker. This version of Fairy will attack with 8 PP and evade all attacks, but she does use 1 LP, meaning that it's essentially a parry, but with damage. And she self-buffs, she can do very good damage as well if you're lacking another Pierce specialist like Mikhail or Minerva. And the good thing is that she can also inherit Acupuncture from her S style that you get from Story, and you can upgrade that to Acupuncture Plus, and right now this attack is amazing because it debuffs 30% of STR of your target, and it's a guarantee, it does not rely on intelligence. Brownie also has access to a Shen PoE attack that can debuff Will. Her intelligence was buffed, so that allows her to help in some scenarios where we need to inflict status augments to an enemy with high will or resistance. And her second skill just helps herself buff, well, because it buffs, and also buffs 2 times because of her passive. Brownie is not bad, and her inheritance comes from freestyle, so that's why she is here, although she's still not as premium as both Mikhail and Minerva for pierce damage. So yeah, Fairy is pretty good for this type of thing. She's not a primer unit, but nonetheless still useful. Then there's Princess White Rose Memories in the Snow, and this character here is kind of hard to evaluate because she desperately needs inheritance. If you have Choco Ball that you can get from either of this or this version, she will place it here on the top as well, but she does not come with that. The Valentine version has very low agility, so she misses Choco Ball a lot. This one at least has way higher agility, she will not be missing as much in hard content. But essentially, just with her own kit, without Choco Balls, she's not that interesting. She can passively heal the squad with 37% chance, but the healing is very small. So it may be interesting in some scenarios, but most fights you don't need this, especially because we have characters that can heal for a lot, like Mirza and Leon with their Steel Blade Lights. They are more reliable. Her skills are not very interesting besides the healing, since the first skill is weak, and the third one is a nuke with delay that can self-heal her, and she already has passives to do that. But it's still very nice to have her if you have the Valentine one and wants an upgrade, but you miss it, the Pumpkin version. The Pumpkin version still is the definitive version of her. And the last one is Shen, a pledge to you. This guy here is not exactly bad, but just doesn't have a clear design. He has a passive that increases agility to a random character and also increases defense. He also has a skill that's fast, barely does damage, and buffs agility to everyone. Which people will want to use Shen? Those that don't have Nawal's daughter and wants an extra help for their matriarch so that they can buff and reach evasion strategies higher. But mostly for those that don't have a matriarch. Matriarch also has a very similar skill that has 8 BP coast as well and increases agility. She does that with cold damage, he does that with slash damage. Shen is also pretty defensive, he will not die easily, but he needed something else, at least one debuff or above. Shen also competes with Brownie, and Brownie has Aerodyne, the best agility buff attack in the game. It costs only 3, so you never run out of PP. And if you have both, you always bring Brownie instead of him, because she also works in evasion strategies when you want to decrease the accuracy of spells from your boss, or from martial arts attack. Actually, the last one is Red Turnip, a gift for good kids. This character here is free on the event, and he actually has access to both blunt and slash damage. His stats are not that high, but he can work for those missing styles. And if you use him on Rainbow Rangers, he brings a slash there. Can be interesting for some combinations if you are using Rofus especially, because he is used on a dex position, but actually he deals slash damage with his second hit. We can use a mage that does slash in the top, like even Shen, character with STR, with slash damage as well, and he can be used on the agility position, like Boston can, but Boston has a nuke on turn 2 only, so sometimes you may prefer to use this guy here, Red Turnip. Yes. With that said, we finished the video here. We just talked about all the new styles, and please give us some feedback if you agree with the ratings or not, either on the comment section or on the Reddit post that we'll be making. And also, thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe if you haven't. If you want to support the channel, you have here links on the description of the video or on the credits tab here on the tier list. Hope to see you soon in the next video. Bye.